Joining us now for further discussion on this funding bill is George Carrillo, CEO of the Hispanic Construction Council and former Democratic candidate for governor of Oregon. George, thank you for joining us today. I want to get your take on all of this. We're seeing sort of a divide right now in the Democratic Party leadership. What does this tell you about where the party stands right now?
Hi, thanks for having me on again. It's good to see you. I think right now we're seeing this divide, and it's the same old politics from the Democratic Party. They're getting it wrong again. And this is where there's this disconnect between political leaders and understanding what it takes to run government. We see that through Elon Musk. We see that right now through the Democratic Party. I support Senator Schumer in his efforts because it is the lesser of the two evils, to be quite honest with you. We can't allow the government to shut down critical services to our veterans, to our seniors, to people seeking care through Medicaid. All these things are on the table right now. And we know if we give the president a pathway to shut it down, what will Elon Musk do during that shutdown period, and cutting more jobs, putting more stress on the services that are needed in this country. And so in this, I think that Democrats are really getting it wrong, and they really need to start thinking about the American people and stop thinking about their political position.
Speaking of the American people, have you heard anyone in your community worried about a government shutdown?
That's sort of been the talk of the town yesterday, and we're all really worried about what this will mean for the government, as the government does provide a lot of resources to state and local municipalities, and we really need the federal government right now working at all cylinders. We're seeing cuts everywhere, and we're the people that are here, boots on the ground, providing services to the community. We need our federal government to continue working. Right now is not the time to shut things down. Just look at how the market has been responding to the tariffs that the president has been imposing in this trade war. We are seeing decline everywhere, and this is one that we cannot afford to get wrong.
We'll come back to that in a moment, but I want to get your take first on what Representative Nancy Pelosi had to say. So we saw her issue a statement that says, quote, Donald Trump and Elon Musk have offered the Congress a false choice between a government shutdown or a blank check that makes a devastating assault on the well-being of working families across America. We must have a better choice, a 4-week funding extension to keep government open, and negotiate a bipartisan agreement. What do you think?
So I can agree with parts of that. I think that that's a good strategy. But what Democrats fail to understand right now is that we really don't have a lot of power right now. Republicans have the presidency and control Congress right now. If this is something that we really wanted to work on a bipartisan deal, we should have done a better a job in November of electing more officials to the Democratic Party. Instead, right now, what we're faced with two terrible choices. But unfortunately, that is at the failure of the Democratic Party. And so what I'm asking them to do is to get on message. Really, don't create more divide within our own party. This is the lesser of two evils. Let's support Senator Schumer, and let's not continue to create this divide between the Senate and the House and within our own caucus.
So I think what's really interesting in this statement from Pelosi is the fact that she mentions this bipartisan agreement. What do you think that would look like for her and for people who support her?
I think what this looks like is that we're not going to see more spending like on certain topics, like whether it's increase in military funding or increasing in enforcement of immigration. That there's not going to be any verbiage in these bills that are going to cut out Medicaid or services to veterans. I think that those are all things that can be negotiated. But in this administration right now, they're making it very clear. They want funding for military. That's very clear. They've made it very clear that entitlements like Medicaid is a Ponzi scheme. That's what Elon Musk said the other day on Fox News. So there's things here that they're just not negotiable for the Republican Party. And, my criticism to them is that in providing tax cuts to the wealthy, you're really going to be hurting the American people. And come this next midterm, your jobs will be on the line if you continue to get this wrong. But also, too, Democrats need to come to the table and provide some real solutions to our problems today and not create more divide when we have a very difficult decision to make.
George, that's exactly my next question. Do Democrats have a concrete platform, a concrete agenda with a clear outline for the American people right now?
Right now, in my own party, I don't believe we do. I think that we are still very divided in understanding how do we represent the Democratic Party. We have leaned so far to the left that, and we've created this environment where if you don't agree with certain aspects of the Democratic Party, then we're going to cancel you. And that's not diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's only one way of thinking. And within the Democratic Party, we need some strong leadership. We need some new leadership in the party that's going to give us the right direction. And right now, the infighting that's happening with this spending bill is just an example of the continued failure within our own caucus to be able to support each other, to be able to communicate and really come up with a strategy of with them holding no control in Congress right now, what can we put forward that's really going to touch the American people to show that we can regain their trust?
George, I've got about 30 seconds here. With Democrat lawmakers sort of debating where to go from here, do business leaders that you're in contact with, do they feel like their representatives in Congress have their constituents' best interests at heart?
I believe so. I think that there's a lot of Democrats like myself. We still believe in the party. We haven't left the party. We want this party to be able to grow. I think the Democratic Party just needs to do a better job of understanding all of its constituents and going back to its roots and really gaining the trust of the American people. Because what we're seeing right now is this complete pendulum swing that we've given power to a president that we all knew who he was. He's never hidden who he is. And yet the public felt that we were in the better hands of President Trump than we were with another 4 years of a Democratic leader.
George Carrillo, thank you for your insight today.
Thank you so much. It was great seeing you.